Well, it's still spinning, but I think I'm live. Hello. I'm Nan Simonson, and I'm glad that you joined me. Thank you very much. I was inspired by a podcast that I heard recently to do this Facebook Live presentation. And Chef AJ, who is now up to what, 600 and, I don't know, 40, 50 um, interviews and podcasts on her Chef AJ Live since March 20th of 2020. Nobody has done anything like that. Interviewed somebody, and I listened to a podcast or two or three every day while I'm exercising. And this one was, and I want to look at it to get it straight, Chef AJ and Dr. Megan Grega. And the title of it, and you could find this by Googling it, is Taking Lifestyle Medicine into the Community. And what Dr. Grega repeated again and again, good morning, Linda, is that her mission as a doctor, a lifestyle medicine doctor, is to make the healthy choice the easy choice in communities. And I thought to myself, let me take that theme, take the easy choice. How do we take the healthy choice and make it the easy choice, even in our own homes? It is true that in some communities, and some of us have no feel for this at all because it's not our life, but in some communities, there is no easy resource to find fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, healthy grains, foods that are well priced and easy to prepare. And so what do? They go to the processed foods, the fast foods, the foods that they could get inexpensively, which have nothing to do with health. As a matter of fact, those are the foods that we shouldn't be putting in our body. I'll add to this question, how to make the healthy choice, the easy choice, to another question. How do we learn to love the foods that love us back? We learn to love the foods that love us back, first of all, by understanding what they are and why we care, and then learning. And sometimes it's a matter of neuroadaptation, meaning that what we have up here that leads us toward certain decisions, including the food that we eat, can sometimes be so skewed by what we're used to that we don't even know what good food really tastes like. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me tell you about an experience I had this weekend. I went to a wonderful event with people that I have known for, some of them, up to 45 years, people who are seminal in my development, as a matter of fact, in a business that I was with for decades and have stayed connected to. And at that event, we were having lunch. Well, I thought that it was potluck that day, and so I brought what I could eat, because I would do this at any potluck, and that is, I made a large amount of what I could eat because I didn't know what else would be there. Now, why am I even saying that? If you don't know who I am, Nan Simonson, author of Aging Powerfully, follower of a whole food plant-based diet as outlined by the College of Lifestyle Medicine, and having had 3 years as a health coach in a clinic that is led by one of the founders of the College of Lifestyle Medicine, Dr. Wayne Dysinger, I embrace the whole food plant-based concept that it's the healthiest food for humans to help prevent, treat, and in many cases reverse disease. And I'll take it they don't get into this part, but I will. It's the healthiest food for the planet. So I see it as a double win. In any case, when I go somewhere, everything that I am going to eat has to line up with those values of mine in terms of whole food, plant-based, not values as much as my own personal preferences. Um, and so I went with what I knew I could eat, and I prepared in advance. How did I make the healthy choice for me? The easy choice, I went with a big bowl of, in this case, it was a wonderful mixture of mango, palm heart, red bell peppers, red onion, cilantro, lime juice. What else is in there? Anyway, and it's called vegan ceviche, and it's amazing. You'll find it on my website, nansimonson.com, under recipes, and I think it might be under salads. Maybe it's under main dishes, but I don't think so. And I went with a couple of little sweet potatoes, baked sweet potatoes, because in order to be satisfied and be very comfortable with a whole food plant-based diet that doesn't hit you with big shots of fatty food, fried food, animal products, what we're left with is a starch-heavy diet. And so the people that say, oh no, starch, i.e. carbohydrates, make you fat, are absolutely wrong. Because now it depends on what those starches are. A donut may, but a sweet potato will not. An apple fritter may, but an apple, even the biggest, most beautiful Honeycrisp apple that tastes like heaven, will not. Because the whole food, that's why whole food plant-based, comes with the fiber and the enzymes and the phytonutrients, phytochemicals, sterols, stanols, all those things that become antioxidants in our body and nutritional powerhouses. And because of the fiber, feed our microbiome. Anyway, so I went with that big, beautiful bowl of, and it was a pretty presentation because I had some blue corn, quinoa, and amaranth chips to go with it. I had my own sweet potatoes. I had my own little container of hummus because that was an additional protein source, and I would put that on my sweet potato. I knew that. I had an apple with me. I had some edamame with me, some roasted edamame. Edamame is young soybean loaded with protein and fiber and no oil, minimally salted. So in other words, I was prepared. And everything went beautifully. Thank goodness, because what was at the party, although gorgeous food, salmon and chicken sandwiches and pasta salads and calamari salad, gorgeous, wonderfully prepared food and wonderful carrot cake, were none of the things that I could eat. But I had a fabulous meal. The caterer had some lettuce set aside for me. I put a bunch of ceviche on top of that. I ate my sweet potatoes. I had probably more food on my plate than the other people around the table. It was this big pile of stuff, and I was so satisfied. When I left, it was 5:30. I had a 2-hour drive ahead of me. I had the apple and some jicama, and the bag of edamame in the car with some herb tea that I made in advance and left in the car. I was perfectly happy. I didn't have to stop at a fast food anything or a 7-Eleven anything to take care of that. So what I'm talking about and as Dr. Grega spoke of, there have to be systems in place, plans in place to, if we decide that we have a certain dietary plan that we want to stick with, that allows that to happen. But I'm going to back way up, and I'm going to talk about why bother. We have to get clear on what we believe is important in our life. I'm 70, I'll be 71 in what, 4 months. And what's important in my life is vibrant health, because you look around you, I look around me, I work with patients in a clinic, and I see what a lack of vibrant health looks like. There's no fun in that. When joints hurt everywhere, and I hurt everywhere before I went plant-based, because the rheumatoid arthritis, antibodies, and symptoms were flaring. The cholesterol was so high that I was going to be on statins and immunosuppressants for the autoimmune, which is rheumatoid arthritis, and the not cholesterol, because that was high, but the glucose, blood glucose was so high that I was pre-diabetic, and all that stuff was going absolutely the wrong way. It's all great now. They even wanted to take out my gallbladder, and I have this perfectly, beautifully functioning gallbladder. All of that was fixed with food. So I have a really clear why. I'm very comfortable with my decision. It's not something that is pie in the sky. I can squat down and pick up and push things into cupboards and move the way a much younger person would be able to, because I've shifted to the food that loves me back, and I love the food that loves me back. So I would say to anyone, the first thing we need to know to even bother considering how to make the healthy choice, the easy choice, is what is the healthy choice for you? Why bother? And then we can look at ways to make that work. My husband has a really good reason, and I've said these things before, but what is it now? 5 years ago, he had a tumor taken off of his pituitary, and that's deep into the brain matter, but not the brain. It's in what they call I don't remember what the name of it is, but there's an opening in the brain that holds the pituitary, and the tumor was growing there into the optic nerve, and they had to take it out. Well, first 2 years it started growing back. We were eating animal product then. Animal product is not only acidic, which means that it pulls calcium out of the bones. People think, oh, you eat your animal product, including milk, and you're going to have strong bones. That is absolutely not so. Look at the countries that drink the most milk, like America. We have the highest incidence of osteoarthritis, osteoporosis. You look at the countries that drink the least, like the Asian countries, they don't have it. So that's not so. But also, the more protein you have, some people think the stronger you'll be. That is absolutely not so. You eat excess protein, and all we need is 10%. That's been shown. And anything you have more than that is simply going to be stored as fat. It doesn't make your muscles bigger because you have it there. It will be stored as fat. So in any case, you get clear on what you're doing and why. And these are my reasons for whole food, plant-based. And if you pay attention to my cooking show that I have, or my website, or my YouTube, then you know that, and you possibly are working toward introducing into your diet as much whole food, preferably leaving all of the manufactured foods behind, or as much as you possibly can, because those are way too rich in salt, oil, and sugar. Dietarily, that's terrible for you, and it's also, it lights up your brain and spills out the dopamine that makes you want it and want it again and again and again. That is also scientifically shown, especially sugar, but even salt. And you're moving toward that possibly, so I hope you're still on board with what I'm discussing. So you need to know your why. And if you know your why and you can embrace it completely, then it's a lot easier to see to be willing to, um, oh gosh, plant your flag on the hill of and stand strong on the hill of whatever your final decision is. I'm going to become 90% plant-based, or I'll have whole food plant-based meals all week long, and on the weekend, if I must, I'll have that pizza with the cheese. You'd be really much better off without the dairy, but I'll leave that alone. And or you'll do the best you can and just keep adding more fruits and vegetables, grains and legumes, and tubers, whole foods, and seeds and nuts, and fill yourself with those really healthy foods that love you back. Love them, they love you back. You'll be willing to do what you need to do to make that healthy choice the easy choice. Now, how does one go about doing that? To make it easier, I'm going to recommend that you do what you can to detox from, and I'll call it detox, from processed foods. You can go into most cupboards in most American homes, and you can look around you and see what the results of this is. You can go to Costco and look at the carts of 99% of the people, and most of their food, most of it, is not really food. It's not whole food as close to grown as possible. That would simply be some potatoes, some tomatoes, some berries, some melons, apples, bananas. It's all this stuff that's in boxes and bags that's made into a food that the manufacturers grind up, reshape, and make into something. The problem is, if you get good at reading labels, you will see that, oh, Linda wrote, I'm much more aware of food now. It does make a huge difference. It's easy to be addicted to sugar. Actually, it is literally, physiologically, something that happens. Dr. Andrew Huberman had a podcast this weekend that I listened to while I drove the nearly 2 hours to where I was going. And he said that they have discovered in this last 5 years receptors in our body that light up with sugar, that send a signal to the brain to spill out dopamine. Now, dopamine is an action and a reward neurotransmitter as opposed to serotonin, which is a calm and relaxing neurotransmitter. Well, dopamine makes you want a repeat of that again and again. Sugar now, and now I'll get back to what I was just saying about these packages that are put together to look like, with things in it that are supposed to look like food. You look at any one of those labels, you're going to see a percentage of fat that is insane. And how do you tell what that is? I'll do this easily. If what you're looking at is 100 calories, and there is 7 grams of fat, let's say, fat has 9 calories per gram. 7 times 9, is that 63? Oh my gosh, I should never do math in front of you because I can't. Anyway, 60? Is it 70 something? 7 times 9. I think it's 63. Anyway, that is 60% of the calories from 60-something% of the calories in that food from fat. Really? When we're trying to keep our fat down to 10 to 15% of total calories? Then you look at the sugar. How many grams of sugar is that? If something says that it's 4 grams of sugar, think of it this way. 4 grams of sugar equal 1 teaspoon of table sugar. So let's say you're looking at anything. It's a sweet, it's a non-sweet, it's a salad dressing, it's a soup, it's bread. I looked at a bread recently that had 9 grams of sugar. Now they'll have total sugar, and then they'll have added sugar. Sometimes the total sugar is, if it's a whole food like Ezekiel bread, where you just take a bunch of grains and you grind them up and you make them into a bread. That's that's almost a whole food. You take most other breads like a white bread, and everything that makes the grain worth eating is gone. The fiber, the the um, the protein that's part of the germ. Everything is separated, and all you have is that white endosperm, which is nothing but starch. Um, 8 grams of sugar in one slice of white bread. What does that equal? I just said 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon. 2 teaspoons of sugar in the bread alone. That's like sitting down at the table, taking a spoon of sugar, eating it, a spoon of sugar, eating it. What did I just say about sugar? It's addictive. It literally sends a signal to the dopamine saying, I love that. It was a reward, and because neurologically, you're going to want more of that, because back our ancestors, if they found something they could have that was rich, that would help them survive, the body says, just go for more and more and more of it. You get into a sugar loop. You get into the situation where you become dependent on those bolts of dopamine that you get from any food that's high in oil, fat, and sugar, the combination of which, oil, fat, and sugar, doesn't even exist in food that way. And it lights up your brain again and again. The hard part is to back away from the processed food. Back away from all this stuff that's made into food. And I wonder if I think I will. I may just take you to my cupboard and show you something that helps me make a point, or my refrigerator. Anyway, detox from hyperpalatable foods. Say to yourself for 2 weeks, better 3 weeks. 3 weeks usually will help you get through the detox process of missing something so badly you think you can't do it. Stay away from the processed foods. Stay away from the fast foods. All of them are the same thing. The food is, in many cases, you've heard me say that the hamburger bun at McDonald's, well, I looked up other places, same thing. Anywhere from 20 to 35 ingredients in just the buns alone. Now, you know it takes 4 things to make a bun. It takes flour, water, salt, and yeast. What the heck is the rest of this stuff? Anyway, detox from the processed foods. If you can do that, Linda just said that in that note that I read, her comment, that when you get past needing to have those foods because you just say, I'm done, I'm going to go a few weeks with none of that stuff, I'll eat real food as close to nature as possible, then you can start tasting real food. And then, how do you make the healthy choice, the easy choice? You make the foods available to you. You make them available to you by, you know what, I think I will. Should I do this? Yeah, I'll start there. I'm going to take you to my kitchen. All right, we're in my office. Goodbye, office. Okay. Let's see. It's going to be about 100 and... I don't know if it's 101 today, but it's going to be a hot day. All right. This is my kitchen. Dut, 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 dut. I'm going to lay you down on my table. Oh, I'll show you my fruit bowl. There's always, let me see if you can even see it. I can't see what you're seeing right now because now I'm not in front of it. There's always fruit on the table. And tonight, actually, I'm going into that little watermelon. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so to make it comfortable and easy to go for the foods that are going to nourish me, the foods that love me back, I need to have things prepared. So one of the ways to do that is to get in the habit of batch cooking. Now, what does that mean? Okay. All right. Today at lunch, and actually every day, I have some sweet potato. I have a giant salad. The salad bowl is 9 inches, and there's a video showing how I make my chopped salads. But I always have some sweet potato. So this was all baked yesterday, and one of them is missing, a big one that was just on top. I didn't even have the seal on this. Actually, sometimes I like to leave the potatoes in the refrigerator without the seal, especially the sweet potatoes, because they get sometimes a little bit too moist, and they get, I was going to say slimy. It's not slimy. It's, they get sort of too moist. It holds too much, and it tastes too sugary. Anyway, these are Japanese sweet potatoes. Bake them. A half of one of these with some hummus on it is fabulous. So I make hummus. Make a couple of cups of hummus. This is 2 cups, and then just put it in a jar. You can find this on my website as well. It's the red pepper, red bell, or it's smoked red pepper hummus. And it's wonderful. It's really good. Lasts me for the entire week. A couple of other things I always keep on hand. Date paste. I'm going to be making more. And then I make a bunch of it and freeze it. And I just keep it in, oh gosh, now I'm going beyond what I meant to do. But I freeze it in this little thing. This is called Super Cuber. And when I make a big processor full of date paste, and you'll find that in on my website as well, these hold a half a cup each, which is perfect. And put it in the freezer with the cover on it. When it's frozen, I can pop out the date paste. It's not as hard as an ice cube, so it's kind of soft. So I put a little wax paper around it to separate it, and then I put them in a Ziploc. And then when I'm low on date paste, I simply take it out of the freezer and push it in there, and I've got a half a cup of date paste. And this is used instead of sugar, because it's a whole food. It's date, water, whirled up in the blender after it's been soaked. So things like that make it easier. I even peel my garlic in advance. I have a YouTube video on how I peel, and let me put it where you can see it there, and chop up my garlic. I have this little mechanism that I use for chopping, but a knife will do. And so even that, so the easy choice is if you can go to your refrigerator, and I could take this, cut it in half, maybe the big one for Tim and me, cut it in half, we each get a half, or we could each eat an entire potato. Can you imagine how full you would be if we split this in half, put steamed broccoli and cheese sauce, vegan cheese sauce, recipe is in the on my website, and had a salad or a tomato salad, because tomatoes are so gorgeous right now. That is making the healthy choice an easy choice. It didn't take any time. So potatoes like that, I do the same thing with Tim's potatoes. And we have an air fryer, and his potatoes I steam a whole bunch of, a 3-pound bag, in the Instant Pot, and then I mash it down. You can cut it in half and mash it, or if it's small enough, you just, like the little guys, you just push and they sort of explode. Put it in the air fryer, and we end up with crispy potatoes as if it's a French fry, but with no oil. And we'll do it without salt, because we'll dip it into the hummus. What about this? I made this recipe for a, it's summer vegetables and a spicy sauce. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it on my YouTube channel. I made enough so that I would get another meal out of it. So tonight, when I'm doing my cooking class for lifestyle medicine, I'm going to have the leftovers that came right out of the freezer, and I'll serve it with rice, heat it up, serve it with rice, and be ready by 6 o'clock to do my cooking class. That's easy. So I want to say to you, if you don't have I'll close this for a minute so it doesn't get too hot. If you don't have a Instant Pot, consider it. I had one 6 months but was afraid to use it, and then I watched one of Chef AJ and Tammy of Nutmeg Notebooks cooking classes, saw how easy it was and said, okay. So now I'm going to start using it, and I make big pots of everything. I'm having a dinner party on Saturday, 10 people coming. I'm making an enormous pot of black bean mushroom chili. It's a Chef AJ recipe. I'm making so much of that I'll be able to serve 10 people and have enough to put into the freezer. Because if I'm going to make the mess and chop the vegetables like the mushrooms, there's no oil in it. It's a healthy food. It's going to be so nourishing with pico de gallo and a great salad and some whole grain cornbread also on my website. All of those things I'll make extra of. I'll freeze little cubes of cornbread. It's really good when it goes into the microwave to warm up. These make the healthy choice, the easy choice, if we're thinking ahead, if we have a reason to have done it in the first place, and we're willing to spend a little bit of time. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, dressings. I make a dressing that I love, and that's Chef AJ's house dressing on my website. I also make the dressing my husband loves, and it's a ranch dressing. Neither have any oil. Both are super healthy. This one has a potato as the base to thicken it. This one has nutritional yeast and mustard and tamari, which is ground sesame seeds. So they're not fat-free. They just don't have additional oil. So keeping things like that. This is a tartar sauce. You're going to be getting on my, it's there now, on my YouTube channel, crab cakes. Crab cakes made without crab. And this is the tartar sauce that went on the crab cake. So I can spoon this on anything that I love. If you have sauces, you can turn anything, like my suggestion of a potato with a vegetable over it. How about a potato, black beans right out of the can, a little bit of seasoning, some lemon juice and maybe some chili powder, and steamed broccoli. And steamed broccoli, and then some vegan sour cream. Yummy, and some pico de gallo or some salsa. Lots of flavor, very quick, a meal that's easy, and it's the food that loves you back. You know what this sour cream is made out of? Tofu and lemon juice. That's it. High protein, healthy legume, fiber, flavor, and it turns any meal into sort of a decadence. We do our own tacos all the time. So I keep taco shells here, organic taco shells from Mi Rancho. And I can use this to turn any of my lentil dishes into tacos. And I'll put some extra black beans, some corn in it, and make it sort of more bulky. And then I just have cabbage and, again, pico de gallo and the sour cream on these organic Mi Rancho tortillas. And we have tacos, and we love it. How about considering doing your grains in the beginning of the week? This is quinoa. Did it in the Instant Pot. Recipes on my website or on the YouTube. This is oat groats. That's so that in the morning, when I have oatmeal every morning, I spoon it into a bowl. I actually now am adding a little bit of quinoa, some oat milk, soy milk. It really bulks up the protein. Put it in the microwave, get it bubbly, and then put some flaxseed, chia seed, berries on top, a little bit of sliced almond or walnut. Easy breakfast. Every morning, healthy choice. The easy choice. So I want to recommend, here, This is my salad drawer. Easy to make my salads because everything is right here. I stand right here where we are with the bowl. Take hands full of arugula, spinach, kale, herb mix. I even throw in some uh, sprouts, some mixed sprouts right there. The lower drawer has shredded carrot, and I shred my own red cabbage, chop the whole thing, and that becomes a salad with leftovers. I used them all. Leftover black beans I put on that salad today, and I'll have leftovers from tonight's meal. So I think I've made my point well enough. If you dine out, bring with you your own salad dressing, because what they give you is going to be full of oil and sugar and salt. Consider bringing your own salad dressing. If you're asked out to someone's house, as long as they know what your eating pattern is, and you have to be honest about it, everybody knows that we're whole food plant-based. I always offer to bring my own a contribution to the meal, and it's enough for everybody, but it's enough for me to be able to eat what I can of whatever they have, and then have a whole bunch of what I have and feel really, really satisfied with it. Let's see, what else? Always keep fruits and vegetables. Buy a bunch of, and that's what I do in this drawer. I go to the farm store, and this is okra, and this is green beans, and we have broccoli, and we have cauliflower, and beets. I chop up my beets raw and put them in my salad. And then there's even more vegetables down here. The red bell peppers, and the farm store even had corn. So I bought a bunch of corn on the cob. Well, I refuse to waste food. Oh, and zucchini from the farm store. I refuse to waste food, so you know what I do? Buy all of that. It's right here. Anybody can steam vegetables quickly in a microwave, never in plastic, in just a glass dish, a little bit of water, and even just a plate on top. Steam it that way, or steam it on the stove with a little steamer basket. Season it with any kind of seasonings you like, or your own cheese sauce, and you have a quick, easy meal. A can of beans, some potato, some cheese sauce, and boom, you've got a fabulous meal. So I think I've got that covered. But my point with that is, buy it, and as they say, build it and they will come. You know what? Somebody, and this is way off, but somebody said to me, they wrote me, and said, wow, you're an inspiration. How did you go? Because I did a YouTube live about having run 4 miles, and I'd never, and just months before that, I'd never even run down the block. And I'm going to do a 10K in a month and a couple of weeks. And she said, how did you ever do that? You know what my answer was? In July, I signed up for this 10K. Then I thought, I don't run. I better learn to run. And I went to Google, and I Googled that. Somebody told me there's something like couch to 10K or couch to 5K, and there is. And it'll tell you what to do. And that's exactly what I've done. And just a week and a half ago, I ran up and down the mountain 4 miles because I have a GPS. It was 4.2. Never in my life had I done anything like that, and I never stopped. It was just a solid run. So that's my point about the vegetables and fruit. Buy all of this. The rule is you throw nothing away, and you find a way to eat it, and you make it into meals, and before you know it, that's what you do. And if you've got vegetables or fruit and you're fearing, it's starting to get too soft, for example, my mango was getting too soft because I got carried away and bought a couple of them. I heat them up, put them on a little tray, put them in the freezer, put them in a baggie, and now the mangoes can go into my smoothies. So I think that's all I have to say. Keep the staples around. Oh, I'll show you something else. In Staples, isn't this pretty? What I did for years and years was run a Tupperware company. and these are just Tupperware products. But my point of showing you is that you have the staples like the noodles, whole grain noodles. I have beans and seeds like chia seeds and pumpkin seeds and all kinds of beans. I love Rancho Gordo, so I get all of their heirloom beans and lots of different kinds of rice. And where's my rice? Oh, there's my rice. Lots of different kinds of rice, so that when I don't have a lot of time, and in here is an instant rice, 15 minutes, and I have a brown basmati rice cooked and ready to go for a very quick stir fry of vegetables that I better cook or they're gonna go wrong or go bad. Anyway, I think I've said enough, and it's time. Sorry, I've gone a little over. So that's all. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, I'd love to hear it. Hi, Hucky. I'm going to try your salad dressing. I love salads and definitely want a healthier dressing. Almost all dressings on the market are just way too rich and full of oil. If you don't have time to make your own, I did find one that I like from Trader Joe's that has no oil. Doesn't mean it doesn't have fat, but it has, because it has cashew. But I don't worry about the fat unless I'm trying to lose weight. Then I'll cut down on even the fat from avocado and nuts. I just don't want to add additional oil because oils are highly processed and way too high in calories and no nutrients. But this has total sugars 1 gram and 2.5 grams of fat, so that's 18 calories in 2 tablespoons. That's pretty good, and it's really nice. It's a spicy cashew butter dressing, and it's rather spicy and really tasty. And then make sure you have your nut milks, almond milk, soy milk, especially if you're trying to go dairy free, which I highly recommend. You'll get all the protein you need in the nut milk, well, in soy milk, and in plant-based foods. Okay, I'm done. I hope you've gotten something from today, and thank you for joining me, and have a great day, because I know I'm going to. All right, bye-bye.